Welcome back, hunters. Your boy's been busy and I've made it all the way to the end of GU and unlocked the final boss, which is Ahtal, or more like a tall pile of trash. Welcome back, classy crew, to another journal in my quest to defeat what's his name? Bloodbath Diablos 14 times, once with every weapon. I am getting closer. Once I defeat this Ahtal, I will have my hunter rank unlocked, which is one of the requisites to get to Bloodbath. And then I am just about 5 monsters away. 4, 3. I'm 5 monsters away from unlocking this Bloodbath Diablos, and then we can start sparring with this beast and getting this pledge underway. But let me tell you a tale of a mantis that wanted to be a spider. And I'm talking about Ahtal. This is the boss that everybody was hyping up, especially soon before I was fighting it. They said this is the best boss fight in all of Monster Hunters, the best thing you're ever gonna get. And like the guild people are all like, oh, it's a moving fortress. This thing likes to build a fortress on itself. And so I'm expecting Goliath-sized monster here. And so I'm like, okay, I like Goliath-sized monsters. I like them big. We go into the fight, and GU is famous for having the most anticlimactic intros to every monster. It's like slow camera pan, monster name underneath. That's just what it does. And so same thing here, even though it's the boss of the game, no cutscenes, nothing, just whoop, Ahtal. And it's like, all right, go. This is a little squirt. He's a little mantis. And I brought my switch axe because I felt I should be fighting with my iconic weapon style. I crafted an elder switch axe blade and I didn't upgrade it. So I had 250 attack, and I'm playing in adept style, so I can dodge through attacks, which lets me have more maneuverability in old world with a switch axe. And anyways, I'm fighting this thing, and I'm like, I don't get it, guys. It's just a small monster. It's got a cool mechanic. I love that it like shoots web and picks up trash, puts it on its back, and like moves it around and swings it at you. That's a very cool mechanic. And I have to say, why didn't they bring that back for Rise? I mean, we had Silkbind, and it pretty much looks like this mantis is using Silkbinds. So why couldn't they have had that kind of monster in Rise? And I know some of you are like, well, there was that arachnid that shot out its offspring. It's not the same thing as picking up trash. You can't call your babies trash. Another thing I noticed as I was fighting it was there was a Dragonator on the wall. And I walked up to him. I was like, should I really push this button? The mantis is tiny. The Dragonator is pretty high up on the wall. Why is that? And I was like, oh, and the chat went on full emote only. So I'm like, there's a catch. There's a hook to this fight. Something's going to happen. So we're not going to touch the Dragonator right away. And so the fight started really good. I was switching and swaxing and smacking this thing all over the place. It was like trying to throw a beam at me, and I would just adept dodge through it. And then the music picked up, and he's like, doo, 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 doo. He like spits everywhere, and he just like morphs into, like, he pretty much summons a Zord, if we all know what Zords are. What's another common word? He mech, a Gundam, call it what you want. He builds out this massive like dragon fortress thing, which I'm like, this is what the Dragonator's for, and this is what I wanted to fight. This part I loved even more, and I kind of wish I didn't have to beat up a little mantis to get to it. So here you're, so I hit the Dragonator, hit him down, and then you can like climb on top of him, and pretty much anything that is glowing yellow or orange, you smack it. So there's an egg on it, you smack it. There's some webbing, you smack it. Just dismantling this pile of trash feels so satisfying. And then eventually he like the mouth of the big thing falls. You go inside, and there's an egg there, and you smack the egg, and eventually you pop his fun. And he goes back into Mantis mode. So now we're in phase 2 of Mantis mode, and this is where I had some troubles, because now he's taken my Dragonator, putting on his back and swinging it around. I got Dragonatored once myself. Maybe it was even twice. He was really good at throwing Dragonators around, which now it makes me wonder, if you don't use the Dragonator, does he still have access to it in phase 2 of his fight? Let me know if you know. Other than that, was there anything else that was worth mentioning? No. I failed. I carded 3 times. I don't know how I'm going to do better next time. I know the mechanic. Oh, I think I want to go in with my longsword against him, because then I can parry and do some really cool stuff. So I think I just need more practice against it. It was also the end of the night when I got to him. So let's roll it back to the last journal, because last journal I was all like, so let's fill in the gap. There's a lot that's happened in the last week or so. I have fully made it to the end of G rank. I've grinded out some weapons, but honestly, I kind of had a light bulb moment where it doesn't really make sense to upgrade all my existing weapons anymore. now, because people, for example, they were like, wait, why are you like looking to upgrade your Rathalos weapons when they're not effective against Bloodbath Diablos? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. Like, we are turning the corner where I should be strategizing to have all my weapons be effective against Bloodborne Diablos. That'd be interesting. He's weak, I think, to ice and lightning, just like Diablos. He might be weak to other things. So it makes more sense to either build for a lot of raw damage or to have an elemental type weapon. So now I'm actually going to take some time and study like what are the weapons that I want to finalize with to go against Bloodbath Diablos, and then from there, what are the armor sets I should actually be seeking to match up with those weapons so I get my final gear to go against Bloodbath, so I'm not just winging it like I try to do all the time and fail. I've also realized my weapon rule, which I changed last journal, already needs another update, because at this point, because I'm in the end game of my pledge, it really does not make any more sense to rotate my weapons out. I need to get the weapons I need. At this point, I've gone all the practice I'm going to get naturally, and it's pretty much go time. Like I'm there. It doesn't make sense to rotate the weapon. Grab the weapon that makes the most sense for the hunt. That's the Omni Hunter way, and off we go. Another thing I want to point out is I built a new longsword. So I think before I was using the Tigrex one, I've now built the Razor, the one from the Crab, Rust Razor longsword, which is apparently the meta. All the speedrunners use it. It looks like a scythe. I actually really enjoy it. So that has been fun. And in part of my G3 journey, there's a lot of stuff that happened. And I just want to comment on the longsword against Glavenus, because that pairing was heaven. Like when you find the right weapon and that matches with the right monster, it's such a fun fight. And I was so terrified of Glavenus, and I was like, this is going to be the worst fight of them all out of all the... He was actually the easiest, most fun fight I had compared to the other three. So I went in with Valor style, and I was just like in a good flow. Like I actually understand how this weapon works now. So I'm like going like the Valor sheath and then the smack, building up my Valor gauge. And then when the Valor gauge is like full, I was building up my Spirit gauge, and like he'd throw his tail at me and I'd just be like, parry, and then just go in and slash him again, and he hits me and parry. It was just like, and then after, when you're like really close to him, you just unleash the full Spirit combo. It just flows so well. I can't believe I used to hate on Longsword at the beginning of this pledge, because it's good stuff when it matches up with the monster well. It's good stuff. Oh, Malfestio. So I did kill Malfestio. It wasn't much of a fight. I did it after I got punished fighting Astalos and Gammoth, and I just needed something easy, so I cleaned out Malfestio, and I needed that fight to unlock his deviant form in G rank. So now I've got him, whatever his name is. Now let's talk about the other Fated 4, which were not as fun. So I went up against Astalos with a Charge Blade. That one wasn't too bad. It's what I usually fight him with. It was just a matter of, I don't think I hit him enough. Like, it was a long fight. It was like 30 minutes. Although these are G rank fights, and I'm going at them solo, so I think it's normal that they're kind of long. The next one was Gammoth with the Aerial Insect Glaive on the Frozen Seaway. And the map made this so bad, because all the places where you have a slant on the map, you try to throw your bug. If you're at the bottom of the slant, the bug goes into the ground. If you're at the top of the slant, the bug goes to heaven. So you have to now add an element of targeting to your play style, where you're like zapping the monster of like, go there, bug. And half the time it doesn't even go there. Like, I was hitting Gammoth in the head with the targeting spray so that my bug would go to the target, and it would just sometimes go like, I'm gonna go this way. Like, it's trying to be an independent bug. Like, now is not the time to find your independence. We have big monsters to fight. The G rank Gammoth has a new move, which is she sits on you.
What? It sits
and
on you?
I was
didn't
not
know that.
expecting it. And it's not just like if you're behind her, she'll sit on you. Like, what's another monster that does that? There's a few monsters that do that. I think a monkey does that. No, she sits on the entire map. Like, you know your mama jokes? Gammoth is your mom in those jokes, because when she sits, the whole map gets squished. It's just ridiculous. You could be like, Gammoth is this mug, you're here, she decides to sit, you're getting hit. It's just ridiculous. So once you accept the ridiculousness and you see the sitting coming, you just bolt it out of there, and it's pretty easy to work with. Outside of that, it was the map. in the cramped space, putting a massive elephant in a small cave was not a pleasant experience with an aerial insect glaive, let me tell you. The worst, this was probably the worst of them all. I thought I'd get creative, and I'm still trying like different weapon matchups because why not? I brought a hammer to a Mizutsune fight, a guild-style hammer, with the theory that, it has really hard claws. I'm going to break the claws with the hammer. I have reasoning behind my choices. But it moves so much, and my hammer has so little reach. I really struggled to connect my hammer to Mizutsune. Mizutsune would be close, and I'd be like, oh, let me hit you. And then, oh, there you are. Let me hit you. I did get a few cool swings where, like, you get, like, the golf swing. There's one point it went to jump, and I, like, golf swinged it in the head, and it fell down unconscious. Moments like that is what makes the hammer worthwhile. Afterwards, Barioth, again on the Frozen Seaway, terrible map, and I don't know why I did this, but I went with Aerial Insect Glaive against Barioth, which that is a bad matchup. Frozen Seaway map, bad matchup. Barioth is so low to the ground, I don't know what I was thinking. I would constantly vault over him, and just the way I play Insect Glaive, I usually try to, like, climb the monster, and I just kept overshooting him. He was just so low to the ground, I kept missing him. It didn't stop me from breaking pretty much every part of his body, but it was a hard fight. Then there was Gravios. Went in with a light bowgun because Basarios is weak to the light bowgun. I'm like, well, his daddy's going to be just as bad. It went okay until a lot of problems. I got zapped by his freaking snipe laser. It was really cramped in some cases. You're in the volcano from Monster Hunter 4U, that level. I forget what it's called, Volcanic Hall or something. There's some areas that just having Gravios in there is ridiculous. And when you're a gunner trying to have a lot of distance with it, and they're like, how about we put you in the closet together? Like, no, that doesn't work. I came back with Insect Glaive after some recommendation, and this was a big game changer. But not Basarios. Gravios is good enough that he's big enough that my Aerial Insect Glaive can easily climb him and constantly hit him. And what's great is when you break the top of his back, so usually he has like his laser beam, and then he discharges all of his energy after he's like, bam, and then his reactor discharges underneath him. If you break the top of his back, he discharges upwards, making it safe to attack him from underneath. So that is very strategic. Another thing I like is when you mount him, and I think when you break either his back or his stomach, I forget which one, he turns over, and so you mount him on the belly, and you're like stabbing the belly and giving him tummy tickles. He doesn't like that. With G3 cleared, I think I covered everything. Yeah. We went after valstrax, which was the urgent from G3. I brought in my switch axe, and honestly, valstrax, I was terrified because he's the urgent, and I'm progressing further. I'm like, oh, shoot, this is going to be hard. But no, my crab armor is really like pulling its weight so far. And valstrax was just so good with the switch axe. I feel it's a good matchup because he doesn't move so much, so that the switch axe, you can dance around him, you can dodge his moves, you can read him pretty good. But I don't think I was like hitting him enough because it's a 35-minute urgent. You have to either hunt or repel him. And I finished it with 36 seconds left on the clock. It was very nerve-wracking, and I finished him with an adept dodge, like whooshy whoosh, for lack of a better word. So it ended pretty cool. But I had so much adrenaline going into that fight. My heart was beating like super fast. It was just crazy. And after that G4, I had a bunch of monsters to go through. And I looked at the chat. I was like, do you guys really want me to solo these? And the chat was actually unanimous in saying, we don't want to see you like spend an hour hunting these monsters we know you can hunt, probably, that just have massive health pools. Use the power of friendship. Let's get you to endgame so that we can move this pledge along. So these are monsters like Rajang, Devil Joe. There was one that was Gravios and Glavenus, which I had hunted previously. There was a Tigrex in there. So I summoned the power of friendship. We bolted through G4, and at Ahtal Ka, I'm back on my own. Once Ahtal Ka falls, power of friendship comes back. We grind all the materials and weapons I need. Then I take on the Deviants. Then we take on Bloodbath Diablos. And then we play Monster Hunter Wilds. No, not in that order. I will be playing Monster Hunter Wilds in parallel to Monster Hunter GU. GU on Tuesdays, Wilds on Thursdays, but I really want to see Bloodbath before Wilds starts. So that's the goal, and that's where I'm at. We're getting closer. Things are coming together. So I'll see you on the next journal or on the stream, twitch.tv/HeyJayOfficial. And until next time, keep it classy.